All right, I'm just going to review the market, but before I do, I wanted to just give a quick lesson on this. All right, so this important thing to understand is when you have a turning point, and I'll explain. This is what Wyckoff is all about. Because how you know this is that he created the wave chart, right? So what does the wave chart have? It just has turning points and distance between them. Turning points and distance between them. Turning points are your pivots and the distance between them. It's like a line. The end of a line and the beginning of the line is the turning point, and the distance between it is the line. It's markup or markdown. So that means that the end and the beginning, there must be distribution and accumulation. So without getting into all of that, just let's focus on this. So when you have a turning point, right, I had talked before about it having three pieces. There's a left-hand side, there's the delimiter, and then there's the right-hand side. Just like a range, a turning point has these three pieces. The left-hand side of the turning point, the turn, and then the right-hand side. So I'm going to hone in right now on the left-hand side. All right, the left-hand side is what I'm going to focus on and try to explain. All right, but in some with some detail. So we're going to focus on the left-hand side and understand the left-hand side is all about one thing. All right, it's exhaustion. The left-hand side is all about exhaustion. All right, when markets exhaust, the other side comes in. Okay, so this is an important point. Left-hand side is all about exhaustion. When the trend is ending and a new trend is going to, and we'll see if buyers come in to create a new trend, they're looking for exhaustion. All right, they're looking for the force of supply to die, all right, to get exhausted. All right, so exhaustion, there's a couple of ways that exhaustion happens. I know most folks think that's just climax, so just, hold on. And I'll explain it, the left-hand side of the turn. So when we think about the left-hand side, right, there's three things, or three types of turning points, where you have a left-hand side that I'm going to explain. But the first thing to note is you have to view it through a filter. And the filter is two questions. How much did we spend? And what did we get for it? You could say how much did the market spend and what did it get for it, or how much did supply spend or what did we get for it. But these are the key. This is the key question, and this is the filter by which you read wave volume. How much did we spend? What did we get for it? So how much did supply spend? What did it get for it? How much did supply spend? How much did supply spend? What did it get for it? How much did demand spend? What did it get for it? This will always keep you up. This will focus your mind on effort reward, and it will also focus on your mind on changes and turns. All right, so that this is very important question that you have to be thinking at all times when reviewing wave volume. All right, these two questions: what was spent and what did we get? What was spent? What did we get? All right. So now, when we examine the left-hand side, what was spent is volume, and what we get for it is price. What was spent is volume, and what we get for it is price. So, from that, and by what do I mean, what price? I mean the amount of thrust. All right, so let me write that down. So one is really volume, what do we spend? And two is thrust. What is thrust? It's high to high, the distance of high to high, or low to low, okay? High to high or low to low. The distance from high to high, right, or low to low. So for example, the amount of thrust from here to here, right? This amount of thrust from here to here, that distance. What is the distance from here to here? All right, how much was spent and what did you get? So these two are such critical questions, and they are answered by looking at the volume and the thrust, measuring the volume and the thrust. All right. So now let's put that in the context of exhaustion, which is what I was talking about up here. So what are the possibilities? And now you have to think about scenarios. Well, the scenarios are volume is either increasing or volume is decreasing. These are only two, it's either up or down, right? So now considering the easy one is volume is decreasing. When volume is decreasing, you will have a situation that is lack of demand or lack of supply. This is one type of exhaustion. When the volume is decreasing from low to low to low to low, why is that? It's because the force of supply is spent and is exhausted, and it is indicated in volume decreasing, which means you don't have to have a climax. Okay? You don't have to have a climax. The volume itself will be decreasing, 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 and that will initiate a change. So volume is decreasing, and it leads to lack of demand or lack of supply and that is a type of exhaustion, as indicated by the decreasing volume. Volume keeps decreasing, decreasing, decreasing because supply is exhausted. All right, so it's tired, and the other side will come in. Now the volume is increasing. Volume and increasing, right? You have to consider two scenarios. One is when you have a lot of thrust, and then the other is you have almost very little thrust. All right. The first one is a climax, when it gets overbought or oversold. We'll call this CMX. And the second one, when you don't have a lot of thrust, is your effort reward. But you have a lot of volume, but you don't have a lot of thrust. All right, so what does this mean? When we consider volume and thrust, it sets up possibilities. And there's only 4 possibilities, right? 3 of them are the ones that are the ones that are relevant. And the first one is when you have a lot of volume at the end of a trend, it is climactic, and that can end a trend or become very close to the end of a trend. It means that it's about to terminate, or very, very close to terminating. You should expect a reversal. The second is when you don't have a lot of thrust, you have a lot of effort, but it's not making lows. It's not making any price progress. So that is effort. In both cases, volume is increasing. The only difference is in one case you have a lot of thrust, in the other case you have very little thrust. And that's the distinction between this climax and the effort reward. All right. Now, the third scenario is when volume is decreasing from low to low to low to low. That is when you get lack of demand or lessening of demand or lessening of supply type of exhaustion. So these are the 3 types of exhaustion that are, as a Wyckoff style trader, you should know Alright, so climax, effort, and lessening of demand or supply. These are the three types of turning points. These are three types of behaviors that you see again and again and again and again and again and again on all time frames for turning points. And as a Wyckoff style trader, this is the focus, because it's all about trend and turning points and exhaustion and springboards. So now I've explained the three types of turning points. One is climactic, the other is effort, and the third is the lack of demand and lack of supply. And if you understand this, you can actually do a lot with it, because you know what to expect. And I'll just now I've given this information out. I don't think this is on that much on. I mean, I don't know other videos, but I just given this out now just to show you examples. All right. So remember this: when you're reading the wave volume, we have two questions: how much did we spend? What did we get for it? How much did we spend is volume, and what did we get for it is the thrust from high to high or low to low. Given these two factors, what are the possibilities? Possibility for volume is either increasing or decreasing. If it's increasing, there are two scenarios. The first being climactic, when you get a lot of thrust, and the other being effort reward, when you don't get a lot of thrust. And the second is volume is decreasing. So this, when volume decreasing, what do you have? Lack of demand and lack of supply. And all these three, I put here climax, effort, lack of demand, represent the left-hand side exhaustion. Left-hand side exhaustion. Here's the important point. After this left-hand side exhaustion, you need a change of behavior to confirm. So left-hand side exhaustion, come in the form of climax, effort, reward, and a lack of demand, lack of supply, doesn't mean the trend is going to turn. It needs a change of behavior, also known as a sign of strength or a sign of weakness, to confirm the exhaustion. If you do not have this, it can continue to go lower. It can just range bound and continue to go lower. Okay? So now I've very clearly explained the factors involved, the scenarios that they present, and how they tie to exhaustion, which occurs on the left-hand side. All right, now we'll just look at some examples of S&P. All right. Market goes down to 79,000, then market goes down to 45,000, then market goes down to 92,000. What do you notice? Increase in volume. Do you have a lot of thrust? You don't have a lot of thrust, but you have a lot of volume. Why is that? Because it's hard to go down, that's why. So what happened? This happened. This 80 right here is actually initial buying. There's some preliminary buying here. This 80 right here is bigger than the last two up waves and came after that short, a lot of effort and no reward, or very little reward and shortening of thrust. This initial buying. Okay? Now you have to wait. You have to wait for trend to change and change of behavior and all that. Whatever. So now it goes down on another 80. Right? So you just have to wait because it's still red. Still red. Down, down. Now, this is important. You have your lack of supply. How do you know it's a lack of supply? First of all, from low to low to low, what's going on with the volume? The volume goes from 92, which is the highest in 7 waves, to 80. It is still a lot, but it's lessening to 49, making from low to low to low. Do you see any real price progress here? I don't. Right? So it's going from low to low to low, and now you still need confirmation, otherwise these numbers mean nothing. They mean, it could be a wrong read or whatever. Here's a confirmation. Boom, right there. Now, it's not very heavy volume, but it does a trend change. And if you look at the S&P, you clearly see that this price and time movement here, 33 minutes, is 158, is bigger than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think in terms of time, it's bigger than all. Actually, since the beginning of the day, it's bigger than all the waves. In terms of distance, bigger than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 waves. So this is your change. And now its ability to hold, tap, tap, tap. It's telling you it's going to go. It's going to go, and it does. That's the end of the day. So the idea here is your effort, right, which set up the initial wave, but it is still not quite done. So bring it down, accumulate some more, then finally here, there's nothing left to accumulate. What here is telling you there's nothing more. What are you going to do? You have to go the other way. All right. Now I'll give another example here. You have a lot of selling. This is more of a pullback example. You have a lot of selling. You have a lot of selling. 32, 23, and 10. 32, 23, and 10. What do you notice? Is it decreasing or increasing? It's decreasing. So there's lack of demand here. Now this is different. This is more of a, what do you call it? Pullback type of thing, where the demand is dying on a pullback and then it breaks. Let's take another example. We're going to take a look at this. From low to low to low, and then you have all of this buying, right? See all this buying? That's your preliminary buying, right? Then this one final spring. Now you're going to notice that from low to low, you have distance, right? From low to low. Now, because of all that buying, supply exhausts itself on the next down wave. Why? 115,000 shares. That's exhaustion. How much do you get for it? You basically go into a spring position. So it's not giving you anything. The market is not giving you anything. So because it's not giving you anything, get ready. Because all it did was go down and put itself in spring position. There's no reward. For all of that effort, there's no reward. So now you just wait and wait for the turn. Here's the turn right there. This is where the trend changes, and now you have a shot at a lot of things. And also know that this usually what happens. You know, after effort reward, right? Usually, many times you'll see the lack of supply. 115. What happened here? 49 confirming lack of selling pressure. Confirming again with 31. See that? And then finally confirming one more time with only 10. See the 115 to 49 to 31 to 10. Bye-bye. It's going to go up. We'll take a look at some more examples. There's another example here. From low to low to low, this is the left-hand side. Remember, this is one of the types of exhaustion. You got 183, 115, and then 33. Here you have lessening of supply on the down waves, but I mean, I would be careful at this point because I see heavy pressure up here. Now, where it changes is here. We have more effort, but it doesn't smash through. Instead, it goes the other way, which is what? That's a change in behavior, which is confirming the hypothesis that it's exhausted. Because you can have many situations where you have volume lessening, right? So, I mean, it's impossible to get all of them perfectly right using any indication. But you can get the indication, apply judgment, and wait for confirmation, which is this. Biggest in 10 waves. Clearly, it's going to pull back and go up. Brain dead obvious, right? So you sell sun pressure, 83 to 115 to 33 to 33. There's your lack of supply. It tries again, has effort. Because you understand, effort and lack of supply and demand, or lessening of supply and demand, they always, for some reason, they represent the left-hand side and sometimes the right-hand side, but they are together, all right? And then they need a confirmation, because even if supply is weak, does that mean the market's going to go up? Of course not. Market won't come up until both things are considered, supply and demand. So not only does supply have to be weak, but demand has to recognize that and step in. You're looking for it to step in. When it steps in, that means bulls are saying, oh yeah, supply is weak. We can easily move the market higher because supply is weak, and that will create your uptrend. Maybe I have one more example somewhere. Let's see this one. This one both of them didn't work, but one of them did. So this was the counter trend rally. Here, 278. Here, 47. Here, 10. Now, you have to always exercise judgment, all right? So what the hell happens after that? That will confirm that this is lack of demand, that there should be at least a move down. And it's this break right here, the red. Because as I explained again and again, that this is the lack of demand from 278, 47, 10, but it doesn't mean shit until the other side takes advantage. And you know they took advantage of the weakness because of the down wave that increased and went red. It has to go red. If it's lessening in supply, after that the wave has to go green. It has to create trend. It has to take out a high. It has to be strong. Here, this was confirmed by this down wave. And then look what happened. Boop, boop, boop. I mean, it's no brainer, right? Let's see if I have any other example. I think that's it. So remember this, even here, I can show you right here. This is the market, how it exhausts. All right, what happened here? It exhausted. Tap, 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 down, 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 bang, right up there. And then give a small move after this rally on the pullback to go up here, get into a lack of demand position, and then the selling came. So you see from one turn to the next, the same behavior, right? The same lack of supply creating the counter trend rally, which did nothing more than test the breakdown. And when it did the test of the breakdown, it went into lack of demand and went right back down to reestablish the trend. So, if you want to know how markets turn, how trends turn, which is the most valuable thing in the market, is to be able to see how the bottom and the tops turned. This, it's really within the, I don't know any other literature that has this, like the study of trend to such a fine degree, other than Wyckoff. Wyckoff is the only, I mean, I don't know any other method that really talks about turning points and trend turns and going from uptrend to downtrend. I don't know any. See, this is how it turns. So again, what is the point here? The point here is there are three types of turns. The one is well, it's all about exhaustion. All right, one side has to get exhausted, and the other side has to say, okay, I'll go now. You're done. Let me try. You're done going down. Now I'll take it up. And exhaustion is going to come out in three ways. One is climactic action. The other is effort. And the third is lessening of supply or demand. And that will terminate the trend. And it needs to be confirmed by a change of behavior, which will do what? It will create the new trend. A new trend will go into the opposite direction as the trend that just terminated, meaning if you have the climax or effort or lack of demand supply, you have that change of behavior, and that change of behavior is expression that yes, the bulls are entering because supply is weak, it is exhausted, and now we're going up. All right, so this is tape examples. This is tape reading, but very specific style of tape reading, the Wyckoff style of tape reading, and that is based off of wave volume. Wave chart was developed specifically to teach tape reading. Again, those are not my words. This is what Wyckoff wrote, that he wrote and said this is one of the things. There were three reasons why he developed wave chart. One was to teach tape reading. The other one was for short-term day trading operations as well as entry operations for swing trades. And the third one I can't remember. So, all right. Thank you all. Have a good weekend. Bye.